Hello, so this tutorial is going to be a continuation of the last video tutorial I did, which was meant to teach you my system that I use to store my script files on GitHub Gist and how I use bash scripts and stuff to install scripts from gists and set them up on my system so that I can call commands from the bash terminal. So this video is essentially based completely on the system that we put together in the first video, so you'll want to go back and watch that video if you haven't, or else none of this will make sense and some of it probably won't work because I'm going to rely on scripts that we wrote in that. And in the first video I also explain kind of what I assume about your background knowledge and experience you have with this stuff, so if you're interested in watching this video, go back and watch the other one first because yeah, this is part 2. So, if you did watch the first video and follow through all those steps, and maybe even if you started using my system afterwards to manage your own scripts, you might have noticed that it works pretty well and it's useful and it saves time and it's pretty cool, but there's a couple parts missing that could make the system a lot nicer. And so the purpose of this video is that since using my system, since making the first video, I discovered what these flaws were and I created the fixes, and so I want to share them with you so that you can use the full system as I'm refining it myself. The first kind of flaw or failing of the system as it was outlined in the first video is you might decide after you've installed a script using gist scripts that you don't need that script anymore on your computer and you want to uninstall it. And in order to do that, you have to go into the bin directory that we created, you have to delete the repository folder, and then you also have to delete every symlink from those scripts. And if there are multiple symlinks in there, then it becomes kind of annoying because you don't know which ones came from that folder that you just deleted, and it would be a lot simpler if you could delete them all at once. So I wrote a bash script that will let us do that, and that's going to be the first thing I want to show you. So go into the bin folder that we created, and I'm going to start by just editing the text file from inside there, and we're not going to write it in gist just yet. We're going to write it and give it execution and stuff manually just for purposes of testing it and being able to see it in action. And then at the end of the video, if you want to use this script, you can copy and paste it into a gist and install it like we did in the first video. And I'm just not going to bother with that in this recording. So go into your bin folder and open up, we'll call it, we're going to be writing our uninstall script, so uninstall gist script will be the file name. And the first line, as we learned in the first one, has to be a shebang line, which tells the interpreter what scripting language we're using. So /bin/bash. You know what? I just changed my mind. I want to call it uninstall gistscripts.sh. And the reason I want to do that is because if you are using Vim, what have I done? Done something awful. If you're using Vim for yourself, you know that it can offer you syntax highlighting, and it recognizes bash scripts by the .sh extension, and I want my syntax highlighted like that. So while we're writing it, I'm just going to use the .sh extension. It's optional, but you just have to type it in with the name that you use as you follow along. So the first thing we want in this script is we want to take, like we did in the last one, we want to take a script argument so that when you're calling this script from the command line, you're going to pass in the ID of the gist that we're uninstalling. And that's how you reference it. That's how it knows which symlinks to delete and which folder to delete. And so this is just the bash syntax for taking an argument. So argument1 gist ID, and then in the next line we're going to navigate into our bin directory, and then after that we're going to navigate into the directory that is named after the gist ID that we just retrieved, because let me show you, if we go into bin and we look at what we've got in there, we have all these folders that are 0bf63d named after IDs of gist scripts, and if you go inside one of them, you don't have to type the whole name of one of them if you just use a wildcard. So save some typing. You can see the original script files of the scripts that are contained in that repository. So that's the directory structure we're working around right now in the script. So when you see this line, we're going in here, and that's our new directory context. And then we want to go script. We're making a new variable and assigning it equal to the asterisk or the wildcard, which will automatically reference every file that's inside the folder we just navigated to, which in this case would be install vim files, transfer vim files, and update vim files, which those are 3 of my own scripts. You don't have to know what they are, just using them for example. So scripts equals asterisk, which gives us now a list in there of every script that's in the gist, and then we want to do a for loop for f in script with a $, do, and that's the structure of our loop. Going to loop through those 3 scripts, and for each one of them we want to delete the symlink that's actually outside of the folder, which is pretty simple. It's just a call of the rm command, rm .. which directs it to the parent directory, then your $, and then f. So what that loop does, what these 5 lines do, is just deletes all of the symlinks in there. And then once we've deleted all the symlinks, the easy part is we just return to the bin directory, and we, with another call to rm with the r and f parameters, which are for forcefully deleting a directory. I don't know if the f is mandatory or optional. The r in there is for deleting a directory, and I just put f in there to just in case like Git doesn't want you to delete that repository for any reason. The f makes sure that the deletion happens. So if you want to try it without it, you know, you might learn something about the rm command that I don't know. So rm-rf $gist ID will delete that gist directory, and which would give us a complete uninstallation of a gist script. So that's going to be the finished script. Let's give it a try. Remember that we have to add execution privileges, so let's chmod +x uninstall gistscripts.sh. Now looking around in there, we have our script and it's executable. So let's create a gist, and let's create a script in a gist that we're going to use for our testing purposes for the next 2 scripts that we're doing. I'm going to call it hello for the trusty hello world script. I'm not going to give a description because, you know, it's a bash script and it's going to be really simple. We'll say echo hello world, create public gist, and now taking its ID, which we're going to use just for testing purposes right now. So cd into your home, because we're just playing around here, and it should, since it's in our path in the bin directory, we should be able to do this from anywhere. So we're going to install gist script, because I assume you have that script available following from the first tutorial, and then cloning the repository and everything. Now we should be able to type hello and see hello world. that's all as expected. Now the new part is being able to uninstall that once we've decided that the hello world script has outlived its usefulness. The .sh is not how we're going to be calling it when it's fully implemented, because that's annoying. But that's how I wrote it, so sh for now. And then we're going to paste that ID once again. And hello, it doesn't work. And that's what we want. So now we have an uninstall script that allows us to uninstall any set of gist scripts that we've previously installed using the same ID. So there you have it. That's part 1 of 3 things that I wanted to teach you in this video. So yeah, let's go on to the next one. But first we're going to... Oh, and of course, yeah, the next steps to complete that uninstall thing is you can write the script in a gist, add it. What I've done is I've gone in my install gist scripts gist. I've just added 2 new files, and then I pulled that and I updated the install gist scripts folder and those symlinks and everything so that these 3 are in the same folder and in the same gist, because they kind of serve 3 purposes towards the same system. I think they belong in the same gist. So when you're done watching, you can go through and set it up like I have it, with these 3 files all in one gist and installed system-wide as scripts. And you'll want to get rid of the sh extension and everything. But yeah, now let's go on to the third one, which, spoilers, it is update gist scripts, and it's right there. But don't look at that, because we're going to write it together. Okay, let's bring back hello. And we're going to install hello again. Hello. And one of the cool things about gists are that they're editable and they're source controlled, which is cool for when you're writing scripts that that you change often or that you refine, like I've been doing with these installation scripts themselves. So for instance, I might update the hello world script with a dark turn and click update. And now the gist is updated, but if we looked in the bin folder in 8618 star, it's not updated. It's still just going to say hello world, because of course we haven't pulled this gist, so we're stuck with our local version. And so let's just follow that process kind of and run a git pull and see what happens. We're going to have problems here because we have added execution privileges to that file, which counts as a local change, which means we would have to commit before pulling, and so there's a lot of pain involved in trying to update a script yourself after you've updated the gist. So we're going to write an update gist script that will do it for us, so that when we change one of the gists, we can easily run a command that will update our local script to the newest version, so that we're not running an outdated script. Okay, so back to the bin directory. Let's make a new file, update gist scripts.sh, and type along with me bash script. And once again, we want to take the first ID argument, navigate to the bin directory, navigate to the gist directory. So the solution, if we go back, if it's, no, it's not, but 861, we have this, and we want to do a git pull. but we run into that local changes problem. The solution is a stash command. And then we would pull, and then you would think that now that we've done that, if we open up a new terminal, type hello, it would be updated, right? Because we pulled. But that's not how it works, because the symlinks that are in the path, remember that the original script is not in the path, the symlink is in the path. So when we call hello, it's calling the symlink. That's not updated. We need to make a new one. That could be, to be honest, that could be an error with the way I've done symlinks, because I would imagine a symlink would be supposed to be auto-updating, but maybe they're more like copies because I did it wrong. I don't know, but I created a fix that works around the problems I have, so just follow along here. So what we need to do to get around that is, once again, we need to loop through all of the scripts inside that folder, and we need to delete their symlinks just like we did in the uninstall script, only we also want to create new symlinks. So there will be 2 steps in that loop. So yeah, back to this script. We are inside the gist directory, git stash and git pull, like I just showed you in the terminal. Scripts equals star for f in scripts do because we did our git pull and our stash, we've lost the execution privileges, so there's a 3rd step in the loop, chmod plus x on that file, which returns the execution privileges on the new version. And without that, we would run into permissions errors when we tried to run the script. So then we're going to rm /f, which will delete the symlink in the parent directory. And then finally, ln to create a new symlink, f /f. So if you type that in exactly as I have it, and then done, we have, once again, we have taking the first argument of a gist ID, going into the gist folder, doing a git stash and a git pull to update the original script files, then a loop to give execution to the original script files, delete the old outdated symlink, and then create a new symlink. And that's the complete update gist script. Remember to give it execution before we test it. And okay, so I messed it up by doing the git pull and the git stash. So we're going to uninstall gist scripts on that one, because I want to. Wait, that won't work either. Because I want to show you these steps just to test it from a version where we start with an outdated version. But right now we don't have an outdated version, and so the test is broken. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to uninstall the Hello World test script. I'm going to install it again with install gist scripts. And then I'm going to make a new change over here. I'm not dead yet. Something stupid. And so now, once again, we have an outdated version of the script on our local, on our computer, just to show you whether update gist scripts is working or not. So type hello. We are going to have 2 lines because that was the 2nd version, which I pulled and installed just now. Now what we want to do is update gist scripts.sh on that ID. Ooh, we have errors. I guess I made a typo. I think what it is somewhere having forgotten a $sign in front of a variable or something. Let me just compare this with my final version and see if there's an error or if I need to go read through the error messages. It looks like it went trying to delete the wrong paths, deleting files that weren't in there. Scripts equals, which could have been bad. I might have just harmed my computer irrevocably. Which would be embarrassing for a video tutorial error. Line 4, just ID. Why is just ID? Oh, okay. So I made a syntax error. Because I'm pretty new to bash scripting, I actually didn't know that in an assignment call you can't have spaces around the equal sign. So I think that was the source of our error. Sorry about that one. But of course, as video tutorial makers always like to say, it's good when errors like that happen because it helps you, see a debugging process and follow along. That's kind of the excuse that makes you feel better for having just, Okay, so there we go. That's the successful execution of update gist scripts that I was looking for the first time. Now if we type hello, we see our 3 echo calls all working. So now we have the capability not only to install a gist script, but we can also uninstall those gist scripts when we're finished, and we can update them when we've changed the gist. So now we have a much more robust system for managing our scripts. The last thing I want to show you is, this was kind of implied in the first video, but I didn't really go into it. You can use this system to store scripts in any scripting language, not just a bash script, but you can also do Python scripts and Lua scripts and, any language that can be run from an interpreter in your command line. You can store a script and use it in the gist scripts system. So, and I just want to give a really quick example of how to do that with Python. We'll do this by writing directly into a gist, because I don't think we're going to need to test it more than once. Let's call it pytest. So what you would do if you want to do this is start with the shebang line, and if you're running Linux like I am, what you want to do is give it the path /user without the E /bin/env space Python 3. Let me make sure I did that right by looking at one of my... Yep. Okay, so if we're writing in Python 3, you do /user/bin/env Python 3, which is the standard path that'll get you to your Python 3 interpreter. And then from there, we're just in a Python source file writing whatever we want. And so we'll just go if main equals main. And don't worry if you don't know Python. It doesn't really matter. Pretty much the important part is that you can do this to do any different scripting language and then write your scripts, and it should still work. So yeah, feel free to stop watching if you're not a Python enthusiast like I am, and you'll be fine. So yeah, 4 spaces for a tab, and I'll just print hello Python, and that'll be our PyTest gist. And copy its ID out of the top bar, install gist scripts ID, it'll clone. Now you should be able to type PyTest and see hello Python. So the point of that example was to illustrate how you would go about writing a script that's not a bash script, and that it would work exactly the same as any other script in the system. So that's just 3 new points that I wanted to teach you about with my gist script system. If I refine it any further or have any more ideas, there might be a 3rd part in this tutorial series. But I think the next thing that I'll do is I'm planning to start a new series of videos for Vim users, which sort of expands upon this system of using GitHub and combining it with bash scripts and stuff. Only instead of gist, we'll be using a repository. And because what I do is I use a full GitHub repository to store my Vim files directory with all of my plugins and user settings, my vimrc and all that. I have them in a repo that I can clone to install my Vim configuration on any new computer with any operating system to work with Vim. And I've even gotten it to work on my Android smartphone using the app Vim Touch. I can use like my full-fledged Vim configuration with plugins and everything through GitHub. So that's what I'll want to show you next, and it's probably going to take an entire series of videos to get that one across. So if you use Vim and you like these videos, then get hyped about that, I guess. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I tried to make this one faster than the other ones because a couple people said that the first video was a little long and a little lengthy on explanations, so hopefully this was better. We'll see. And yeah, until next time.